Hello and welcome to Corporate Cup Presents DAFA News Podcast. What an interesting day for cricket we have had. We had the results finally coming in for one of the groups, which is the Group A. And, before, we get into the deep dive of this, let me welcome my partner in crime here, Sanket. Sanket, welcome to
Hi,
the
hi,
DAFA News.
Anirban.
So exciting days of cricket. Which of the things that went as per I think it went as per your prediction, right? Namibia is going to be out, and Sri Lanka and Netherlands would qualify.
No, probably I saw Namibia winning the match and they came pretty close. And it was Sri
They
Lanka
came
and
pretty close.
Namibia.
You had Sri Lanka and Namibia. I had Sri
Yes.
Lanka and UAE. So at least we have one common number name here. Did you
No,
have Sri Lanka as
your
the group leaders in your predictions?
Sri Lanka and Netherlands were my initial group leaders, group qualifiers, the two teams which will go ahead. Yesterday, I predicted that looking at the situation, it should be Sri Lanka winning that match and Namibia defeating UAE. But that didn't happen.
Yeah, that would have kind of put Netherlands behind. And after the loss, also I saw that Namibia has a better run rate than even Sri Lanka strike run rate. But very very sad for the Namibian team. But of
Yes.
course, we will discuss that in detail because both of us would have our thoughts on that. And let me tell you, let me actually show you what I had, as my predictions. So, I had my predictions. If you can see, Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka, and UAE as the qualifier. At least I got one right, in my predictions, which is essentially Sri Lanka qualifying as the group leaders, and our wish for the mini Asia Cup still remains a wish.
Yes.
I think they heard us, and they possibly thought that we are not going to let you guys have your say on this one, and we are going to top the group.
Yep, probably they didn't top and Heartbreak from Namibia. If Namibia won that match, then we had a Asia Cup in hand.
Yes, absolutely. We would have had a mini Asia Cup in the World Cup itself. But let's just sort of dive in. I think Sri Lanka, sensible choice. Like I always say, in a pressure match, if you win the toss, you should bat, and they kind of back themselves, and a good start at the top of the order. I mean, although they had decent enough start in the power play as well, not a bad power play. After which they, I think, lost their first wicket in Nisanka. But Mendes kind of shone through for today. I mean, so we have had Sri Lanka having different batsmen clicking in in these three matches for them. I mean, sometimes Nisanka, sometimes Mendes, sometimes De Silva, and of course Hasaranga shown with the ball. But we'll discuss the bowling a little later when we discuss the batting of the Netherlands team. So
Yeah,
what do you have to say about Mendes? I mean,
yes,
I think
I guess
excellent innings, pretty
excellent
much played
innings.
through the innings.
He wanted to bat the full 20 overs. They were 42 after 8 overs. Scored literally 120 in the next 12. And he was one of the mainstay
Absolutely.
over there. And probably I thought Sri Lanka were a bit under pressure after 10 to 11 overs, but Netherlands didn't bowl properly and Sri Lanka got their boundaries pretty well. Like whenever they needed runs at that particular moment, the boundary came for them. So it kind of loosened the pressure on the batters and they did not have to play any stroke which could have given Netherlands a chance to take a wicket.
Yeah, and but I when you say about the boundaries, when I look at the total number of boundaries, which is fours that have been scored by the entire Sri Lankan team, it's just been 10, and sixes has been 7. So if you add that up, I mean that's just about 80 runs, which is just half of the total Sri Lankan score, which effectively means, I mean, 82 to be precise, of the 182, or the 162 that they scored, beg your pardon, which means half the runs they have ran, which means their running between the wickets has been good in this innings.
Yes, it's pretty good and also states the fact that commentators and they are saying that singles don't matter. It does matter. They add up at the end.
Absolutely. And
And
they have proven it. Sri Lankan team has proven it. Out of the 162, there are 7 sixes, which is 42, and there are 10 fours, which is 40. So 80 runs these guys have ran, which means at least 80 balls, if not 760, 70 balls, these guys were running, which is all more than half the entire quota of overs.
Yes, that was the strategy in the first half. Probably, if you look at the first 3-4 overs, they were trying for boundaries and not trying for singles, and then they got that running between the wickets will win you the match in this game, and that's what I guess was the difference in the end. Netherlands
Absolutely,
lost
and
two wickets to a run out.
absolutely, and if you look at it, at 10 overs at drinks, Sri Lanka were about 60 runs, so which means they scored about 100 in the last 10 overs, which is excellent batting. And that's kind of reflects, because if you see after Nisanka, he did not get any support from De Silva, which is number 3, and only Asalanka and Rajapaksa gave him the support that he needed. Both sort of helping him out, build his innings, and score almost 80 runs in almost half the number of balls, which is 44. So he kind of took the responsibility today to see Sri Lanka through to the Super 12 as group leaders.
Yes, they will be happy that their group leaders probably stating the fact that their spinners can cause more trouble to teams like Australia, England, and New Zealand rather than the Asian teams. Will be much more prepared. And Kushal Mendis, obviously one of the best batters in the last 2 to 3
Absolutely.
years, and
And a great wicket keeper. I still remember his
yes,
first catch from the first match.
he probably came good
Definitely
on the
still a
day
contender
required.
for the
Yes,
catch of the tournament so far.
yes, yes, contender for the catch of the tournament. Maybe we see Virat pulling one in one important match and
Yes,
matching that.
I hope he does a little better than the what he did in the warm up match against Australia.
I won't prefer better or not. If he pulls off a good catch on a much required situation, that will be enough. Let the
Yeah,
award
I
go
think
to
sometimes
Kushal.
it's not the
Uh,
quality of the catch, it's when you take that catch
uh,
also in a match
a
that matters.
high pressure catch could be important. Like Indian fans will remember Kane Williamson catching out Ravindra Jadeja in the 40th over. That catch was
Yes,
good enough.
yes, yes. See, you still remember, which
I
means
remember
that
everything. My memory is sharp. I just tend to forget it. I don't recall it. There's no point recalling that match.
yes, that there is no point recalling that match. There was that catch and there was that run out. So let's not even talk about that match. I think uh, most Indian cricket fans would not ever want to see that match and possibly think that that match never happened. I
Yes.
think and let's just talk about the bowling. I think Sri Lanka kind of knew what they were trying to sort of protect here. And I think I would still give a lot of credit to the Netherlands team, which kind of scored almost 146, which if Sri Lanka hadn't scored this 162 before and Netherlands would have batted and an 145, 146 or 150 is still a good score in a pressure match, and things could have been different. So they have not really batted badly.
I will beg to differ. They probably batted a bit bad in those middle overs. Like you see the top scorer
I'm
they
saying
were playing.
in
Overall,
terms of the score.
it was only Max who batted very well. Like 9 overs, he scored 71 runs. Rest of your team scored only 75 runs in 11 overs. That was pretty much the reason they lost the match. And if you look at the scorecard, the batters in the middle probably ran themselves out. You could
Absolutely. I think he didn't get much of a support. And one of the things when you look at the card, there was this regular fall of wickets. While Sri Lanka did not have many wickets lost by the time they reached the middle overs, these guys were almost half back in the pavilion.
yes, and Scott Edwards was sweeping away to glory. Five
Yes,
back-to-back sweep against Hasaranga, and then gets out to sweeping to Fernando.
Fernando.
Probably he could have taken
Absolutely.
much more responsibility and then followed it by Tim Pringle's run out. That should have
Absolutely.
been much more careful.
Absolutely. I agree. I think when you look at it, of course Hasaranga comes good, and this is much needed coming good for the Sri Lankan team, especially as you say that and Theekshana also coming good, with a couple of wickets, so which essentially sort of bodes well because they are getting into a group which is dominated by teams which are more fast bowler friendly in terms of their batting, and have struggled in the past in terms of spin bowling.
Yes, and it's not normal. Traditional spin bowling is Hasaranga, the leg spinner with his variations, and the mystery spinner in Thiksana. So
Yeah,
they form a good. Probably, if we look at the figures, 8 overs, 60 for five. That's half your
absolutely.
wickets and more the
Just
eight
60
overs
runs.
gone. Yes.
Absolutely. That's the point which I was also coming to. However, I think the Netherlands team can take a lot of heart from this tournament. I think they've really played well. I personally, for me, they kind of played above their level
They
in this
still have
tournament.
matches to go. They
And yeah,
qualified.
they still have. So I think this is what I basically am trying to say is that the Netherlands team, essentially, when you were sort of looking at how Namibia started off against Sri Lanka, and then the next match against the Netherlands team as well. I think you would have. I mean, you were backing Namibia, right? And they almost made it. When we also look at their match, I mean, my only concern was that there wasn't anybody in the end to support David Visa.
Yes, there was no one to support him, and probably we should credit who bowled that last over. Probably Mohammad Wasim.
Yes,
He bowled two good overs at the end, and like from a
with the
short run
bat and
luck,
the ball he shown today for the Emirates.
yes, he did come up and show his class over there. And probably what was good at looking like, he didn't care about how he looked in his run up or in his follow through. His plan was clear, bowling full and using the long boundaries. That was
I think,
what he did.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And if you look at their innings, I mean, the difference in the UAE versus Namibian innings is very clear. I think Mohammad Wasim got support from Arvind, from Rizwan, and even from Hamid towards the end. Something which was completely missing, and it had to be David Visa who comes in much later to sort of try and salvage something from the Namibians, because the top order just came and went for the Namibians. I mean, they had lost 5 wickets for 46 runs, six for 67. And their top scorer Jan Freiling was out by the 67th run.
Yeah, yes, I guess they were trying to win it within 15 or 16 overs. Pretty much it seemed so.
Yeah,
And I guess the most important turning point was JJ Smith getting run out.
yeah,
That should,
absolutely.
if that didn't happen, I guess Namibia would have won this match. 7 runs means one or two shots, and Smith was capable of doing that. Robin Trumpin played good, but you needed that hitting ability to score those extra runs.
No, absolutely. And I think he used a little more number of balls than he perhaps would have liked. I mean,
But you
when you're
can't
coming in
expect
the depth,
much from he's not a number 5, 6, or 7 batsman. He probably played his part, uh, helping David Visse to stay there. And David Visse got
yes,
out on the 19.4. So I
yeah, I
guess
think almost
Robin play.
two balls to go.
Yes, Ruben played his part. It was more of the batters who failed.
Absolutely, and that is kind of, I think, that is kind of very clear. I mean, two of their star batsmen among them, who you expect them, and like they have in the previous matches, JJ Smith and David Visa, you would have expected them to sort of just take it home very easy. But I think they kind of got carried away, and this is what pressure situations do to you. I mean, when you are in a pressure match, you tend to sort of not back your strengths, and you try to go for the big one, and that's what
Probably,
happens.
yes, you feel bad for them. Like it's not just about qualifying for a World Cup or something else. It's much more financials also involved. They would have won a lot, like winning this match, qualifying into the Super 12s. So that factor also played quite a lot. That was visible on the face. It's not like a Sri Lankan team or a West Indian team who have an established background or established setup. So
Absolutely,
that factor
absolutely.
played a huge part. And David Visse, probably someone with experience, did not look shattered. Probably you can say they needed one more David Villa in the team to handle this pressure of the match.
I think it's the pressure, Sanket. I think for me it was just the pressure, because if you look at their batting lineup and how they have performed both against Sri Lanka as well as the Netherlands in the previous matches, it was their top order, barring one match, did not really fire, which was and but you would have backed JJ Smith and Jan Freiling any day, and David Visa, of course, chipping in this one quite fantastically. In fact, he was the highest scorer of the match. I mean, he scored more runs than Mohammad Wasim. So I think somewhere I think the pressure got to them, and this is what kind of separates an experienced team from a non-experienced team. When you don't play as many matches between one tournament and another, and that's what essentially the top teams do. It's not that they play, win a lot of matches and they don't lose a lot of matches. It's the match practice, the mentality of being in a match in different situations is what you also learn, and not just the cricket.
Yes, the same thing happened in the previous match, like Sri Lanka Netherlands. Max played maximum number of balls towards the end of the innings. If he was the one was facing the ball in the middle overs, he could have scored some runs and got the pressure of the other batters, and they could have gotten more close to the target. So a little bit of inexperience or lack of experience, that would be a good word to say. Lack of match practice, lack of experience at playing at the biggest stages. So that was the factors in both the matches, and that could be the same tomorrow also.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think now that the Netherlands team is going, see where the Netherlands team might benefit a little bit. They were thrashed by the England team when England was touring Netherlands. Okay, I think England scored the highest number of runs in T20 or one day internationals, whatever have you, right? I mean, almost 600 runs, I think. So but the point is that they have played in England, they have played the other teams. I think that is where the difference. Yes, I agree to you, fully agree to you, and I sort of feel for the Namibian team, and especially, you could see David Visa sort of breaking down, and all of those pictures. It showed you how much it meant to the Namibian team to have qualified. And I personally feel the kind of cricket that they have played so far in the Group A qualifiers, I think by far they played the best cricket among all the three teams. That's my other three teams. That's my personal opinion.
I guess they played the majority of the good cricket in the first match itself and left all their
Yes.
mistakes for the remaining two. That was where I guess they found themselves out of the tournament.
Yeah, I think that's it's a. I mean, like, but I hope they take this learning. I think there is a lot more cricket left in the Namibian side, and I think I'm sure lot many more great things will happen because they have performed at the world stage even though they have not qualified to the next group. And I think a lot of great things are likely to happen for the Namibian team. And we just will take a quick glance on the final table for this group. And what you will understand is, Namibia still has a better run rate among everybody in the group. So it was just about that win, just about those 7 runs, and they would
Yes,
have topped the group.
they could have
Even if
topped.
Sri Lanka had won, even if Sri Lanka had won, which they did, of course, against the Netherlands.
That's the difference a boundary can make. I guess we get to learn that from.
No, absolutely, and I think that's that, and I think from a captain's perspective, this is something which Gerhard Erasmus would, would take with him if you happen to be in his shoes. And I think that is what they would want to implement in the future tournaments, wherein they basically sort of understand, take the learnings from this experience, and then they understand that you also have to learn the pressure of handling the pressure in a World Cup like scenario. Maybe early days, but nonetheless, fantastic cricket by Namibia. Just fell by 7 runs, short by 7 runs, which essentially means Sri Lanka is now the group leaders, which makes crazily my prediction true, because after the first day, this was the most unlikely thing that was going to happen. So, and Netherlands, yes, they are going to qualify as the second or the runner-up in Group A, and they are going to play India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and South Africa in the second group of the Super 12, which will start from Sunday with the India Pakistan match. And we are going to have some special guests over to discuss the India Pakistan. Of course, it's a big day. As long as the match happens today, also I saw a report that there is predictions of a lot of rain in Melbourne, but let's hope the rain gods allow and allow this match to happen.
Hopefully, I guess the match is worth seeing, and it will be a loss of a good entertainment package if it does not happen. And
It
point shared is not always good.
not at all. And I think after Asia Cup, and I think Asia Cup was India Pakistan playing after a long time. So I think the fans in both the countries and cricket fans all across the world want to see this rivalry. I think it's one of the greatest rivalries sport, not just in cricket. And it'll be very unfortunate if you miss out on this just because of the rain. So I think we all will have to pray a little bit, and hopefully the rain gods will allow us to see the match on Sunday. And of course we will have more details. Let's have a quick sort of sort of predictions on who do you think from the group B who's going to qualify tomorrow. Everybody is on 2 points, and it's like who wins goes through, simple as that tomorrow.
Yes, simple calculation, no depending upon other teams. It's West Indies and Ireland, and then Zimbabwe and Scotland. I
Yeah,
hope,
so who's your prediction in this one now?
probably in this group anyone can win any match because like four of them has played one bad match and one good match. But I hope
Correct.
Ireland brings up a surprise for West Indies cricket so that we get to see something serious from them in the coming years for the good of cricket. I don't want
Yes,
West
I think
Indies qualifying with such the way they are playing.
that's I think I remember West Indies when they won both the first one in 2012. I remember the torrid time the West Indies team was having before that tournament. And look at the T20 win, and I still remember the West Indies team. I think that was in Sri Lanka, the 2012 tournament, and they defeated Sri Lanka also in the final. So they were doing that dance that time. That Gangnam
Gangnam
style was
style,
very,
yes.
yeah, very popular. So of course you want to see all of that fun and frolic from the West Indies team, but provided they have played good cricket. So yes, maybe, who knows. Still, I think if I hold out my predictions, West Indies was my number one team, and I think the second team for me was, let me just check what was my second team. Oh, my second team was Ireland. So it just means that only one of them can go through tomorrow. So that is pretty clear. So I am again back at only one prediction being able to be right out of this group.
I hope
So
like if West Indies goes through, my prediction was West Indies and Scotland, but I guess probably West Indies Ireland will be a much more closer game than the other one. And Scotland looks good to defeat Zimbabwe because Zimbabwe has
yeah, I
been,
think that should,
yes,
unless Zimbabwe suddenly, you again have that kind of a inning by Raza, and everything just goes out for a toss. So unless something like that happens, I too see Scotland going through, and possibly West Indies also going through. So yeah, if I look at the run rate, if Scotland goes through, I think they would definitely be topping the group because West Indies is much behind on the run rate, especially after they lost to Scotland, and a lower margin of win in the previous game against Zimbabwe as well. So yes, I think Scotland might just be the group toppers in this one, which takes them to essentially Group A, or sorry, Group
Group B.
One, which is the Group B.
Yes, Group B toppers are coming here, and the second place from here will go there with
Okay,
Australia
the
and
second.
England.
Okay, the second place. So West Indies basically can go into that Australia, England, and New Zealand group,
Yes, yes.
and joining Sri Lanka over there.
Yep.
Okay, interesting, interesting. I think we'll have the groups by tomorrow. So as per me, Group One is looking like Australia, New Zealand, England, and what's the fourth team? I think
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. Yeah, Australia, England, New Zealand, and Afghanistan. Sri Lanka has already joined them, and maybe West Indies will join them. So that's Group One of the Super 12, and in the Group Two, or of the Super 12, we have India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and South Africa to be joined, which is already joined by the Netherlands team, and possibly will be joined by the Scotland team tomorrow. So all to play for, all to look forward to. I think a fantastic days of cricket is ahead tomorrow, and by end of day tomorrow when we chat again, I think we will have the main part of the World Cup ready for us over the next
Yes.
3 weeks.
They're probably looking forward to it. And hopefully There could be a surprise if Ireland and Scotland join with Netherlands, 3 out of 4 teams being a European country. That could be a good surprise for the cricketing
No,
fans.
absolutely. And that's a great thing for cricket actually, if that actually eventually happens, because
Yes,
you see even Sri Lanka sort of scraping through. It's not been a very convincing display of cricket by the Sri Lankan team. I mean, even today, the Netherlands almost gave them a run for their money. Uh, had it not been for Hasranga and Thikshna's spin bowling, they almost gave them a run for their money. And it was not a very large margin by which they won. It was just 16 runs. First match they lost. Zimbabwe also came close. You know, so I think all to play for in the next one. So Sri Lanka will have their task cut out, especially against Australia, England, and New Zealand in the kind of form they are. Maybe their best chances is against Australia, given the form of the other two teams, which is England and New Zealand presently.
probably their batting will take a big hit, and the batters need to come up. I guess they have their bowling sorted with those two spinners and fast bowlers having a little bit experience of playing in Australia. I'm concerned for the batting when coming up against such teams.
Understood. I think I second you at that. And fantastic days of cricket ahead tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. I think we are going to see you again on the Dafa News podcast tomorrow with an exciting set of discussion on who finally qualifies according to Sanket, and as per his wishes, it is going to be the two European teams, which is Scotland and Ireland. uh, According to me, I think Zimbabwe, West Indies just like Sri Lanka scrape through, but you never know. I would still say it is going to be Scotland number one and West Indies number two. But yes, if what you say happens, I think it's going to be a fantastic thing for European cricket in the coming years, especially with
Yes,
three European teams qualifying. And Namibia also playing fantastic cricket, so that's a great thing for African cricket also. So we've overall had great cricket so far, and which means that the rest of the World Cup, the main part of the World Cup, which starts with the uh, England versus Afghanistan match and the Australia versus New Zealand match on Saturday. It's going to be cracker, and hopefully, again I'm saying the rain gods will bless us, and we will be able to see the India versus Pakistan on Sunday. So all to look forward to. Thank you so very much, Sanket, as always,
thank you, thank
to of joining us on this Dafa News podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, please keep showing your love to us, and keep following us on Instagram, and keep watching our videos on our YouTube channel. Share, like, and subscribe to our channel. Remember, the 1,000 subscriber is going to win some great gift hampers from our side. Till then, we see you tomorrow with the Dafa News podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. Goodbye and take care.